Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Good morning.
I'm still waiting for Dr. Najmi, so maybe just give me a moment to confirm whether he's already in the Zoom. Then I'll start the session. Okay, Doctor?
All right.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Saiful.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Boleh dengar ke suara saya?
Alhamdulillah, jelas.
Jelas, Doctor.
Okey. Ya. Cuma kamera saya ni tak tahu kenapa dia kejap on, kejap off, tak tahu kenapa. Line kot. Dia off sendiri. Okay.
All right, so I think we can start the session, Dr. Najmi.
All right.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the QS Reimagine Education Awards, a sharing session on experience and insights. I'm Hafiza, your moderator for today's session. We have a number of participants or attendees today, and I believe that some of you might be wondering what is QS Reimagine Education Awards, or perhaps some of you might have heard of this before. So briefly, this is a prestigious platform celebrating innovation and excellence in teaching and learning, and I believe our speakers will be sharing more on this. Today, we will learn more about this, and we will hear from two distinguished speakers who have experienced this competition firsthand. I'm sure their sharing will be valuable for anyone interested in participating. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone to keep their microphones muted during the sharing session to avoid any disruptions. You can type your questions in the chat box at any time, and we will address them during the Q&A session after each speaker's turn. To kick things off, I would like to first invite the Director of the Center for Academic Excellence and Development, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Najmi bin Masri, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Doctor, the time is yours.
Thank you, Fiza, for this opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this webinar. As mentioned by moderator, the QS Reimagine Education Award is a big deal in the world of education. It celebrates creative ideas and projects that make learning better for students. This award is important because it shows us new and better way to teaching and learning. Alhamdulillah, today we are fortunate to have two guest speakers who will share their valuable experience and insight from the QS Reimagine Education Award. In fact, our first speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Saiful Bahri Yusuf, has won gold award in this competition. I am particularly proud to highlight that our second speaker is from our very beloved university, University Malaysia Kelantan, UMK, Miss Lina Ramamurthy, who was shortlisted in the last year award. I hope this year is yours, Lina. I'm sure this knowledge will help us understand what it takes to compete and success. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe that academic staff at UNK have incredible potential that's need to polish as well. They have done amazing project and use innovation approach in teaching and learning, which could be recognized in a global scale. Therefore, I hope that everyone will take this opportunity to learn, engage, ask questions, and will be inspired by our speakers today. I'm looking forward for more participants in this QS Reimagine Education Award this year from UMK Staff Academic. We want to increase the numbers. Whilst we proceed many participants, the possibility to be shortlisted is more. Well begin, half done, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Let's continue to strive for excellence and reimagine the future for education today. Thank you. Back to you, Iza.
Thank you so much, Dr. Najmi, for your words and for setting the stage for today's webinar. Now, let's not waste any time. Let me introduce our first speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Saiful Bahri bin Yusuf. He is a medical doctor with a Master's of Science and PhD in Medical Education, and currently he is the head of Department of Medical Education at University Science Malaysia. He has 16 years of teaching experience and has held several prominent roles, including Editor-in-Chief of the Education Medicine and the Regional Director of East Asia for the International Society for Emotional Intelligence, just to mention a few. His expertise includes well-being in education, curriculum development, assessment, emotional intelligence, and psychometrics. He has received numerous prestigious awards, and one of them is the gold medal for the QS Reimagine Education Teaching Delivery Award, as mentioned by the director just now. I'm confident that Dr. Saiful is the right person to share insights on this topic today. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Saiful for his session.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. First of all, thank you so much to UMK for this opportunity to share some insights and experience related to the Reimagine Education Awards. Maybe before I start, can you see my slide?
Yes, Doctor.
All right, and I'm not really sure what's happened to my videos because it's not really working well this morning. But I hope you don't mind, you don't see my face live, but you can see my photo, isn't it? All right. Yeah. So I think let me try again. Then no, I think the camera doesn't work. All right. So let's start with our sharing session. I think what I'm going to share here is my own observations looking at the success experience from various winners, and perhaps I also incorporate my own experience related to this. And you can see this, this particular, I would say that, what is it? I'm not, this is what you got when you won any of those categories. All right, so these are for teaching delivery awards, and then I think the prize and the reward is quite interesting, right? So, so that's just to reflect back. It was in 2016, all right? So basically, it's about 8 years.
Okay.
All right. So I'm trying to reflect and look back and then try to put something that's meaningful for everyone today. and hopefully with a kind of I would say that a kind of frameworks that I can somehow formulate based on my own experience as well, observing others who are successfully secured the award. All right, so I'm trying to put in together so that it will help anyone who is interested to go with this award. All right, so it's about 8 years ago, and I'm trying to reflect on what makes innovations winnable for the awards. All right, so I was in US presenting to groups of peoples. I believe there are several judges over there, but I think they didn't declare they are the judges. They act like participants, all right? So they ask a lot of questions, they ask a lot of things about your innovation, and you have to answer that, all right? So, and the given time was 7 minutes, I think, if I can remember, but plus minus later on about 3 to 5 minutes of Q&A. All right, so there was experience, and this is something that they advertise even after 8 years. They still put on the websites the past winner for Teaching Delivery Award. But I think since several years ago they have changed. I think the categories of the awards. I think afterward I'm going to share with you a little bit what are the changes in the categories. But previously there is there was a Teaching Delivery Award, and USM won the award. I think that the first time for the even ASEAN to win this award at that level. Right, so you can browse through if you are interested. But this year, I think I'm very proud actually to see the first Malaysia universities that won the Global Education Award. To win Global Education Award is not easy. Even for the category also challenging, but winning a Global Education Award and getting 25,000 USD is really, is really great, I think. Maybe the next level, if you really want to see something that's beyond than winning category, maybe you want to invite Palace University representative. So these are the teams who won the global overall education winner at that I think 2023 last year QS Reimagine. I think this is something that a proud moment for Malaysian, but it was not so well captured by Malaysian. I think this is something that we need to celebrate actually. But unfortunately, it was not given a lot of attention. It's just a matter of the university incentive to make it visible and then make it announced to others through their own website. I think there's something that we can celebrate. We have people in Malaysia who really looking at how can we make things better in our higher education. Right? So maybe the next speaker that you would like to invite is them actually, right? So now let me put things into a kind of formula, maybe framework, whatever you want to call it, just to squeeze all my observations into something that's hopefully practical enough for you to consider and provide you a kind of criteria maybe, or maybe you can set a framework that you might want to evaluate your innovations. And maybe you might want to consider to submit to QS Reimagine Education if you think that they already fulfill all the criteria. All right. So successful in the education innovation, just like in this picture, is about the real world context. You have the theory and something that you need to practice to make things better. And usually there are problems over there or challenges, issues, gap whatsoever. But the most important thing is any successful education innovation will bridge theory and practice to make things better. All right, so this is something that I can conclude from what I have observed throughout the winners from my own experience looking at the winners took the awards and from what I have observed for the past 8 years. All right, and then I will put things into 6I. All right. So if you're looking at this formula, 6I, there are certain things that you need to have I1, I2, I3, and then you need to plus something, we call it I4, I5, and you need to multiply by I6. So I think this is a kind of formula that I'm going to elaborate for you and trying to reflect on whatever innovation that you have at this moment. And if your innovations, demonstrate all these 6 features, I recommend you to submit to QS Reimagine Education. And most probably, you will be shortlisted, just like, our next speaker after this. She was shortlisted last year, and then you need to do something. But to win, I think the 6I will be very important. All right. So I'm going to share with you what is the 6I from my observations as well as experience looking at the winners from for the past 8 years. All right. So, and hopefully this formula can provide you some guidelines or guidance or maybe guiding principles for you to evaluate and reflect on your education innovations. And hopefully your MK will be the next winner. All right. So the next winner, hopefully, inshallah. All right. So the first I will be generating good ideas. I think we need to start with creative and impactful ideas. So how do we know that our ideas is good enough? So it means that we need to look at what issues that we address. All right. So the most important things that QS Reimagine Education Awards looking at how can we solve certain things in the real world that's happening, especially educational issues or educational challenges, or maybe you want to say educational gaps in certain contexts. All right. So the good ideas must be there first. And the ideas is not only good, but have impact on certain sections of community, maybe, or maybe certain sections of the fields that make the education to become better if your innovations to be in place, right? So I think there's a first step. So think about what you have right now, and then look at what actually the real problems or real issues, the real world challenges that your innovations really address it. All right. So this is the first crucial step. So I think there is something that you can think and then put maybe if yes, just think. So first I done. All right. So the second I that based on the formula you need to multiply by demonstrable improvement. All right. So this is something that I've seen. I think across the winners when I read and I listen to their presentation, the things that thing that really obvious from there is whatever they put and presented in terms of impacts, outcomes, there is a real tangible benefits to the targeted participants or to targeted community and society. I think this is something that we really need to provide. And it is important for us to continuously measure how much our innovation has progressed to address the real problems and how much benefits that the targeted participant or targeted population have benefited from our innovation. I have seen most of the winners, I believe Taylor's University won because they really makes impacts on the area that they highlighted in the educational sector. I think from what I read from the Taylors, yes, it was really fascinating. And they have shown clearly how that improvement happens and they demonstrate the tangible benefits out of that, out of that innovation. I think it is something that we need to think how much you have to showcase the demonstrable improvement as a result of our education innovation. So that is the second I. Right? The third I is about planned implementation. I think this is something that important. If we do educational innovation, we should have a well thought out plan for the execution because I believe those who are reviewing or maybe judging our education innovation, they're looking at how systematic, how how was the planning, is it replicable, is it transferable, or even practical enough in different contexts. All right, so I think this is something that you need to put your good ideas, all right, and you put your outcomes that is demonstrable, or maybe the impact is demonstrable, but you need to showcase as well everyone can replicate, and implement in their own setting. Even though, for example, let's say the educational innovation is only in our institutions, but they can see how that can be implemented in their setting. So this is something that we really need to see whether what we did here is feasible and transferable to the other education setting. So a well thought out plan for education is very important and essential to be demonstrated to the judges through documents, presentations, and something that is tangible for them to see. All right, so there's something that we need to think hard on how to put all this into arrangement that everything looks good, and or sometimes they call it they can trail all the processes from A to Z. All right, so I think there's something that we need to think the first three I's. Now, the added value, all right, the added value is a plus. There's one is multiplier effect. One eye, first eye, second eye, and third eye. They are basically giving you wow factors over there, right? But now, there is additional thing that makes your innovation stand out from the rest. Because usually, I think from my experience, we are competing with others within our categories, and then later on, between the categories. Usually the winners of the category will compete to other winners from the categories for them to be awarded the global education as overall winner, overall winner. So if you want to stand out from the rest, there are fourth eye and fifth eye. All right. The fourth eye is basically tailoring approaches to individual needs. It means that the personalization or individualization to certain participants. So I think this is something that you personalize or customizable to certain individual needs. All right. So and furthermore, at this at this moment, they are looking at the diversity, the inclusivity, and equitable educational innovations that address this following issue, so that there will be more inclusive, tailoring diverse needs, and then it's equitable regardless of their background. I think this is something that is very important as well to look into our education innovations. All right. So if you have this, you are in a good position, at least to be shortlisted. All right. Then the fifth eye, there is something very, very important to add on to your innovation, the internalizations of your educational innovation. It means that how do you incorporate the global perspective and practices and issues whatsoever, so that the process will be prepare the future generations in a better way. All right. So I think when we are talking at the globalization, we are actually interconnected. All right, interconnected, and how your educational innovation will be able to incorporate all this global perspective and concerns that you are not only solving your own issues, but you also can offer your educational innovation to maybe assist other people to address the same issues in different contexts. All right, so I think there's something that you might want to consider. If you have the fifth eye, then I think you are good to go. All right, but the most important, I think, the last eye. Without this, actually, whatever you put in the first 5 eyes is going to, not really working, which is supported by information. It means that you need data to prove that something benefits or maybe have impacts on the individual needs, or maybe have been incorporated the global perspective into your education innovations. And then you need to leverage on information technology capacity so that all your innovations will make better sense to those who are not knowing your education innovation. So I think these are the 6 I's that I observe from from QS Reimagine educations, and I was judges as well for a few years. All right, so I can see that those who are being shortlisted and demonstrating a few of this I, but those who want usually demonstrating all I's. All right, so demonstrating all I's. I think this is something that you might want to consider, and try to think, reflect things on your innovations, and maybe you can just tick, 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 and then at the end, all your ticks must be supported with evidence. All right. Once you have this, it's just a matter of how you want to document your evidence so that your documents will be your portfolio of your educational innovation initiative that can impress and can convince others you are the champion. All right, so something that I put it in 6I. Hopefully, you are able to connect it and then to look at whatever education innovation that you already have and you are planning to submit to QS Reimagine Education Award. All right, so it is a 6I. Now let's put it into action research, something that is actionable, something that into action. All right, so basically, if you are starting to think about educational innovation, you start by identifying problems. This is where you can generate good ideas. Right? If you are not having any education environment, educational innovation at this moment, but you are thinking toward that, I think you can use the framework, because first, identify the problems to generate good ideas. You need to devise a plan because you need to have a well thought out plan before you implement. You implement properly, and then make sure you put all the documentation in the proper place so that other people can audit and follow the trails of the implementations. And then don't forget about the evidence, the data whatsoever, that will be able to showcase something that is demonstrable improvement and tangible benefits to the targeted population of our education innovation, right? And you need to reflect and share continuously. This is something very important. Reflect and share educational practices, your innovations, before you go to QS or Reimagine. And please make sure that whatever you put in the document, you're trying to highlight how that tailors the individual needs, especially diverse group, if it is it is the case, and how the global perspective and practices or issues being incorporated in your reports and then into your consideration as well. And how do you analyze and make sense of the data to support the impacts and benefits of your education innovation? So this is something that if you don't have any education innovation, you can think through this framework to address the 6 I just now, right? Okay, now, and once you have that, continuously improve until you have enough information so that you can justify that your innovations is something that that is winnable education innovation for the QS Reimagine education. And to do that, what I observe from the winners, usually they disseminate their different innovations, either from journals, conference, or maybe before QS. Imagine they have been, there has been submitted for other competitions because they want to strengthen the evidence showing that their innovations is really, really impactful and demonstrate a very good idea, all right, competition. And sometimes they put education resource. And from my own experience, there is something that I have for my innovations. So it's continuously, even until now, we are continuously improving our innovations, related to what I want in 2006 is evolving, it's evolving. So in fact, once you have all this, I would say more mature education innovation with so much evidence, you can submit again. Because then, even though you have one before, they are not prohibiting you from submitting the better and more mature education innovation, even though is similar one. I think there is something that good about Reimagine education. If you won before, you can always submit again and try to win the global education award. But you need to have more information to support your innovations impact, especially the tangible benefits to the audience. And then it's something that even I wrote, and I make a book for whatever have been presented previously with more data. All right, this is already being accepted and to be published very, very soon. All right, so in the editing, but it is something that you need to work on because with all this evidence, actually you can aim higher, not just winning the category. We want to win just like Taylor win the global award, right? The global winner for that for the whole section under education, global education. All right, so there's something that we need to want, and I myself also improving, and I haven't submitted yet. I don't plan to submit this year, but maybe next 2 years once the evidence is getting more and rich to support the impacts of this innovation that I want in 2016. All right, so this continuous process. And looking back at Reimagine education, I think there's something that we need to remember because the Reimagine educations always looking at something they call it groundbreaking innovators. So something that inspire community, and then transforming the education landscape, enhancing learning outcomes, and supporting the employability of future generations. So with all this objective of Reimagine education, we need to showcase how that our education innovations will be able to at least address all this objective. Right. So I think nowadays, I think they have changed a little bit. They have refined their, I would say, directions, and they are talking about transformations of education landscape and achievement of learning outcomes and the employability. I think there is something very much related to what we are focusing in Malaysia as well. It's just a matter of how to demonstrate all this, evidence with data. Right? So I think there's something. And then as mentioned just now, to 2024, we have 18 categories. All right, so there are so many, but out of the 18 categories, they will be into several teams. I think 5 teams actually. So the first team is about future of learning. So you need to see all these categories, actually, they will cluster into several teams, the bigger umbrella. So what is the future of learning? This example of the future of learning. So basically AI, generative AI, and the blended and present learning award. I think if you have something like that, you can always consider under this team. Right? And then there are second teams about future of universities. There's something related to innovation, business education. I believe UMK is very suited with this one. Innovation in business education. You have that, I would say, features because it's embedded in UMK as an entrepreneur university. I think there is something that you might want to focus. Right, it's my suggestion because you have that the soul as an entrepreneur. Right, it's just a matter of how you can put all your innovation in business education so that you can submit as a university, just like Taylor's did. Right, and many other. All right, and the third theme is future of work. So this is something is very important. I believe any of us actually very much fitting to these themes. All right, so developing emerging skills, life learning award, nurturing employability award. I think these are basically our industry are doing. And actually, we are trying very much to address. It's just a matter of maybe just how we put things together to make it more visible and fit with one of the categories under future of work. I think, please think about this. I believe MK have that capacity because you have done a lot related to this, right? And then sustainability education is something that I reflecting on myself. USM actually should be in this league, and trying to work something. All right. So there is something that we have things, but somehow the documentation is a bit need to be tightened up. All right. So because I believe there is our forte as a Malaysian university, especially to USM actually. UMK also going to that, but actually USM is not taking or maybe not leveraging on these matters to make US institutions becoming more visible in sustainability education. All right. I'm talking to you, but I just realized, all right, while preparing the slide, a kind of reflection on myself as well. I think whatever MK did right now, sharing all this QS information, I think is a very, very great initiative to start the ball rolling, right? So, and then values. So the values also access, diversity, inclusion award, values and ethics, nurturing well-being and purpose. Actually, my innovation just now is previously addressing the nurturing well-being. Previously, I put in the teaching delivery, but with the current categories and themes of the categories, my innovation will be very much suited with the nurturing well-being. Because the deal practice is about nurturing the resilience higher education students, right? Right. So these are the categories. The most important thing is look at your innovations, choose the best fit categories under one of the 5 teams, and then give your best. Give your best to fulfill all the 6 I's. And I think if you did that, if you do that, we can at least in the shortlisted, right? Shortlisted, being in the shortlisted also is a great achievement. But if you can just put a little bit more push to make your education innovation as a winner, that will be greater. Yeah, that will be better. All right. So it is good. And the judging process, maybe I would like to share a judging process because I've involved before, but maybe at this moment they have changed a little bit the way they judge. But it's very interesting to note that their judgment is based on what stage of your innovation. Is it early stage? Is it mature? And so on and so forth. I think this is a very fair way of assessment and evaluation. That if let's say you are just at the early stage of innovation, maybe they have a different requirement. I'm not familiar with the current one because I'm not the judges, but previously I was the judges, but I found it is a bit different right now. Maybe you can our next speaker will share more about this because she just been shortlisted last year. Maybe she has more recent experience related to all this process, right? So I leave it to the next speaker. And in terms of the distributions of month, I would say weightage. So basically they are looking 40, 30, 30. And then I will share to you what actually they are looking at when it comes to each of the category, right? And maybe I can somehow share a little tips or maybe some tips on what can you do to address the focus, right? So the first focus is innovation. So basically, as I said just now, what makes our project innovations has something compared to our competitors. All right, so there's something that impact tangible benefit just now. I think this requires evidence. All right, so basically, the judges will assess how novel and creative the project is, and what the uniqueness of our educational innovations in relation to others, and what are differentiations that we have that make us stand out compared to the existing solution, if any. All right, so there's something that they're looking at, and my tips actually just three. Okay, the first is we need to clearly articulate what makes our project unique and stand out. This is where the evidence comes very, very important. All right, and then how do you address certain real problems in your own areas or maybe in your own expertise, right? And then provide examples on how our innovation different from others. All right. So I mean what makes our education innovation stand out compared to others. And the second thing is what I did in the previous experience 2016. I highlight what is the originality of the methodology. How novel is the methodology or the approach? All right. So one of the example that I put is my innovation only required 4 hours to make huge impact. It's very short compared to the rest of innovation that exists at that moment. All right, so 4 hours, but give effects for 32 weeks, as compared to others innovation that takes at least a week to make impact, and longer if you are looking at long-term impact. So see, these are unique things that we approach to this innovation. So that makes interesting. An example is this can be can be delivered by anyone, regardless of their professionals, because it's just about educational framework to teach university students to make them resilient and less burnout. So the example. So I think this is something that you might want to pitch in your documents, so that those who are reviewing or maybe judging your innovation have a kind of wow, something like that, right? So wow, right? So that is something that I would like to share, tips to fulfill this requirement. Now, the second part is the impact or maybe potential impact. Sometimes, if early stage, they call it potential impacts because you are collecting data. But if you have a matured project, so you are looking at the real impact, right? So there's a 30% that they are looking at this one, and they are looking at actually the effectiveness of project to achieve the goals that you mentioned in your problem statement whatsoever, and how to what degree that have demonstrable positive benefits on the target audience. All right, and you can looking at the current impact as well as the potential future benefit, because sometimes you have data at this at this year, but you can predict based on that data you will have a huge impacts on the future as a benefits. So I think there is something that you might want to play around between the current and what will be the futures, and especially because remember just now QS Reimagine have their own objective. All right. So now it's time for us to try to highlight something that's aligned with the QS Reimagine Education Award. For example, improvement in learning outcomes and the employability. All right. So this, I think, once you address this, you are getting attractions from the reviewers. So and what I did before, right? Just tips. I present both quantitative and qualitative evidence. Remember, do not just rely on the quantitative. Qualitative evidence will give better explanation on what does the numbers mean. I present both. Right? Present both the quanti and quali. So in your evidence later on, do not just focus on quantitative. Look for qualitative evidence as well. That will make your innovations more demonstrable in terms of the benefits. All right. So that's the first thing. Second, if possible, take testimonials, case study or feedback from the target audience. I did that as well. I put their pay. I put their. Later on, I will have videos afterward, just to share. All right, and then third one, demonstrate how the project has improved the learning outcome employability in this current. In this current. Previously, I just mentioned how that can help them to work well in hospital setting if this innovation be implemented widely across Malaysia as well as ASEAN. So I just put in that position. I think you can do that as well. And as long as the issues you address have a global perspective and practices, right? So that's why the important I remember the I just now is very important because it makes your education innovations looks more attractive in terms of the benefits. Last but not least, about the criteria depth or scalability is depend. This one is something that depending on your goals. Either you want to deepen the impact or you want to enhance the quality of the innovation. Okay, that is depend. But just a kind of brief definition, which we are talking, that is enhancing and deepen the impact. All right. Scalability is about how you want to expand or replicate in larger context. So, but my advice is try to address both because it gives more it gives more flavors to your educational innovations. All right. So focus on that. All right. So on specific things that you're addressing, and then focusing on scale, also scalability as well, both. And don't forget, provide evidence. Right, evidence out of the current implementation as well as the future growth. And these three things I did in my presentation before. And then this one just additional tips, out of the three, just to make your innovations, looks better and more likely to be in shortlisted list and hopefully win. All right, supporting evidence, 2 minutes video pitch. Even though they, I think now they requested before they didn't request, but I just put the 2 minutes as well. Documentation must be clear, organized, and don't put too thick, but don't too thin. Just nice, about maybe less than 20 pages. I think that's good enough. And then show the continuous improvement, evolve from one time. If you can generate the chronology of your innovation, that will be very good. Chronology, when you start in the diagram, when you start, when it's evolve, after this, after the end now, what are the status? And you put on the chronology, all right? And alignment with the objective. Maybe before this, they are not very much emphasized on the employability, but more toward any outcome. But now employability become a major focus and objective in the current QS Reimagine Education Award. So I think you need to highlight that in that sense as well. So maybe I just like to share 2 minutes only. What time now? Okay, I still have time. All right, so this is the video, 2 minutes. So this is a video that I produced myself. I cannot remember what apps I did use. All right, so maybe my last note before I conclude. So, and if you can highlight all this, the efforts that you made to extend your educational experience innovation to different contexts and sharing your practice, that will be very, very good because it will support your innovation, right? And there's something that I love to collect all the work when I was young, but now focus toward a different tasks, but still the patience is there, all right? So it is something that we want to do what we love and love what we do. So it's something that will get you the results because nobody will ask you to do this, but you have the passion, inshallah, you will go with that, all right? And then last but not least, my key summary, and then we have a Q&A. So innovation features, don't forget about the 6I as a guiding framework for you to reflect on your innovations, all right? And we need to address the real world problems, and then try to disseminate as much as possible before we go for this award because the evidence will make them impressed, and then their impressions will have influence on the outcomes of our submission. And then do share your practices, even though it's not for this award. All right. So I think there's something that I would like to share in this morning. Hopefully that's useful and then meaningful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saiful, for sharing your journey and experience, not only as the participant who has won, but also as the judge for the QS Reimagine Education Awards. So now we'll be taking questions to Dr. Saiful. If you have any question, you can unmute your microphone and ask Dr. Saiful directly, or you can type your questions in the chat box and we will address them one by one.
All right. Any questions that you like to ask? I cannot. See, fail to on my video.
We can't see your video, but we can hear you once.
Yeah, that's okay. You can see my picture lah.
Yeah.
All right. So anything that you like to ask? And don't worry, I will share this. I will share this slide with the host, and then hopefully they will disseminate the slide to the participant as well. All right. So anything that you like to know?
I do have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Given your experience as a participant who has won and also as a judge, could you share some tips? Because you mentioned a lot about documentation, proper documentation and also presentation just now. So if you may, could you share some tips during the pitching session? Because I believe during your time it was done physically, face-to-face.
Yes.
During the judging session, whether was it done physically or was it online? And if and then what would be your tips to for those who are interested to participate during the pitching session?
All right. Okay. Oh, I forgot to address that aspect. So when you are selected, actually, when you are shortlisted, actually, you need to do pitching. And my experience was it was face-to-face pitching, no online at that moment. Everything face-to-face. And usually they give us about 7 minutes presentation. It's very short one. And then 3 minutes for Q&A from the audience, and unfortunately we do not know who are the judges. I think there are judges among them, but they are not revealing it explicitly. They kind of just like undercover judges, something like that. I'm not really sure, but they are marking, they are judging us. And then after that, experience about pitching. Since we have 7 minutes, not so much, we cannot telling them a lot, but focus. What I did actually, I just focus on the real issues that I want to address with the education innovations, and then supported by meaningful and impactful, because we have so many evidence but telling them something that they are, there will be something that they are looking forward to listen. I'm trying to, kind of anticipate if I were them, what they actually want to listen from my presentation. And I did before that rehearse with your colleagues. I did presentation with my colleagues in the department. Ask them, if you were the judges, what do you think you want to listen? Right. So I think based on that session, it was very useful to prepare me on what can I deliver so that the audience and the judges want to listen. And last but not least, keep it short, sweet, and straight to the point. Don't tell too much stories, but tell what meaningful stories related to your project. All right. And last but not least, I think most important, if you have a kind of, testimony, examples, please include, because that make difference. Then they know that you are doing something real. All right, something real. And last but not least, I prepare text for that, and I rehearse based on the text. All right, so you need to. I think I have a script lah basically. I script and train until I have the flow of the scripts. At least I don't lose any important points from my presentation. I think that's the only thing that I would like to share in terms of pitching. The rest, just wait. And for your information, when I was there, it's not about winning, it's about sharing. I don't really think about I will win. And in fact, during the award ceremony, I just wear t-shirt, because I don't have, I don't expect I won. That's all. I just share t-shirt and then sweater because it was so cold at that time in the US, and just like a jeans. It's very informal. But suddenly they call my name as a winner. That was surprise. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saiful. That is very inspiring. Yeah, I believe that, like as you mentioned during towards the end of your presentation just now, we have to do something with passion, do what we love, and joining such awards or competition might be, for one thing for KPI, but also for sharing what we love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we see one question from Dr. Ika. Considering the highlighted is components, could the service learning be potential projects given its impact on stakeholder?
Yes, I think yes. It should be the service learning should be under values, I think. I think the value. Please look at. I'm not well versed with all, but I think it should be under values.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's browser definitely. So service learning will be potential project. Yeah, definitely.
Well, there's one question from Mrs. Lena.
All right, go ahead.
Hello, good morning, Prof. Saiful. Thank you so much for the sharing just now. I think at least I learned something as well. Just one quick question. All right, because our group last year we joined it virtually. And then I would like to ask when we join virtually, so we do not need to pitch physically. So it's we only share the video pitching, and then will it be, will this be considered as something that will affect the overall results, overall marks of the participation?
During my time, yes, the pitching has certain contribution. But because I have not involved actively recently, I'm not really sure with the current format. But I believe the most important is the first submission, because a lot marks on that submission actually. When you submit reviews, but the pitching is kind of just like PhD Viva, only maybe 20% or 10% like that. It's just of, if let's say all the education innovation that has been shortlisted are very good at par, so the pitching will be very important. Yeah, the pitching will be important to differentiate between which one is better. Which one is better, especially when it comes to no, to endorse who are the winners. Yeah,
All right. Thank you so much, Prof.
yeah.
Are there any more questions from?
Sorry, that is I actually. Yang AI tadi apa tu? Cannot.
I think in your first few slides, Doctor, the formula that you shared, I
Oh,
guess
6I, the 6I. All right. All
maybe
right, all
that's
right.
under one of those eyes. Are there,
6I,
yeah,
the information, is it?
yeah. Are there any questions? Any more questions from our attendees? So how about the document? Because I know that we have to fill in a lot of information when we are applying. So how about those documents? Do we have to proofread it, making sure that everything is proper, polished before submitting, or
Yeah, I think I try my best to make sure everything well articulated, all the documents. And then I still have the document, the hard document that I uploaded as evidence. Because whatever we claim, they want evidence as well. That was my experience. I think evidence also important, especially, for example, I claim that my innovation has been used by 14 countries. So I have the evidence to indicate the use of my innovation in 14 different countries. So that's really scalable. I just want to highlight the scalability of the innovations. It's not only formulation, it's for everyone. All right, so that's why I said just now, QS is very competitive because you are competing at the global level. And then it's not only competing with higher educations, but you're also competing with industries. Remember that, industries. And then to stand out, you need to show something different. And the difference is we are doing for benefits rather than profits. All right, so I think industry usually they look at profits versus benefits. I think what I did is not telling about the cost, but I'm telling the values of the cost. All right, so I think we need to be strategic in the way that we put our points so that we are able to justify that when it comes to the cost, even though it is there, but the cost is less than the benefits that we are aiming for. And it's scalable by the evidence just now. It has been used in many countries at very minimal cost that everyone can afford.
Right. Are there any more questions from our participants today to Dr. Saiful? Dr. Saiful, do we still have time? Because I've been informed that you have to leave for another meeting, yeah?
Yes, but still have time.
Okay. So we still have time for one more question, I believe. Any question there from the participants? Anything that you would like to share, concerns or worries? Or perhaps you already have a project in mind and you want to ask for more suggestions or ideas from Dr. Saiful.
Maybe everyone already.
Perhaps they have now started to think of projects that they want to pitch in for the awards, Doctor, perhaps.
Yes, I think so. That's good. All right. Yeah. So all the best to UMK. Hopefully, we will listen to good news this year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saiful. There are many takeaways from your sharing just now, from the advices, tips, strategies. I think those should be considered for those who are interested to participate in QS. And before you leave, Dr. Saiful, can we take a group photo session first because I believe that you won't be joining us after this anymore because you have to
Yeah.
leave for your meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but my
so-
video is not working. I hope that's okay. All
You can
right.
see your picture though.
Yes, you can see my picture anyway. I wish my video worked at this moment. Nothing.
Can I ask everyone to turn on your camera for our group photo session with the disciple? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile.
They're smiling.
Your picture is smiling, Doctor.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you again. And just do contact me if you need any advice. No problem. I advise as well others participants. I think including tailors. I think they contacted me before. Yeah, I'm happy to see them won the major award. All right. So thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and
See you
see you
again.
again. See you again in the future.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Doctor.
Right. So now, thank you for your patience, everyone. Now we will proceed with our second speaker. Mrs. Lena, you ready?
Yeah.
So our second speaker, allow me to introduce her briefly. She is Mrs. Lena Ramamurthy, a senior language teacher in the English unit at the Faculty of Language Studies and Human Development at University of Malaysia Kelantan. Mrs. Lena holds a master's degree in applied linguistics from University Utara Malaysia. She is very active in teaching and learning innovation and has numerous publications to her name. Over the years, she has won several awards in prestigious innovation competitions, both at national level and international level. Last year, she was shortlisted for the QS Reimagine Education Awards in the Learning Assessment Award category. So I believe that we can't wait to hear more from you. Please welcome Mrs. Lena.
Right, thank you so much, our Miss Moderator, Dr. Hafiza. Let me share my slides first. You see my slide?
Yes.
All right. Okay, a very good morning to everyone. And first of all, thank you so much. I would like to thank the organizer, especially BKPA, for having me here today. Well, I would not say that I'm an expert or, to guarantee you to win a place in the QS Reimagine Education Awards, because I myself and my team members, it's actually our first time. And last year, it's actually our very first time to join it. But I think based on what I experienced, based on our experiences and what I observed before, during, and also after the conference, after the awards, I hope that by sharing what I have with me can at least give you some insights to start to explore about the QS Reimagine Education Awards 2024. And hopefully we can have more participation this year. All right. So before we dive into detail, these are the few things that I'm going to cover. And I believe Prof. Saiful just now, he has already covered a lot of things. And then maybe I'll go through a little bit, just a brief one on the application process. All right. At least what to expect and then how to plan ahead for your project applications. And after that, I'll touch a little bit on the path to QS Reimagine Education Award success. Just like Prof. Saiful just now, he shared about the 6I. And then I and my teammates, we also have our own way to actually strategize our applications. And then I'll show you a little bit on our project introduction. All right. And then lastly, I'll share some tips and strategies on this framework, the DAX. All right. So let's take a look at the application process here. So it's actually a long way, all right, to apply for this QS Reimagine Education Awards, because there's a lot of things you have to do, especially in terms of the application form. All right, so first of all, you have to know what you want to join. All right, what is your project? And then you have to browse through all the categories. So this time around, I think we have one extra category. So this year's we have 18 diverse award categories. All right, and we have like e-learning, we have business education, what mentioned by Prof. Saifu just now. And I think that we have a big potential in this category as well. And also we have learning assessment. All right, I believe each of, everyone's here, especially in VMK, regardless of your background, regardless of your expertise, regardless of your field, you can find a category, all right, among these 18 categories. All right, and then once you have decided which category you would like to join, the first thing you have to do is you have to sign up for the account. Then only you can start to apply. So you have to sign up by, basically each of the category, they will have another 4 subcategories, all right, in which they have like at the academic level and the venture level, which is the industry level, as what mentioned before. All right, so for academic level, it depends on your project innovation as well. Either your project is on the early stage, all right, you can join the early stage for the academic level, or on the mature stage. All right, same goes to venture as well. But in the end, all these 4 subcategories, they will all meet together in one category. So, but in terms of the judging criteria, all right, although you join, let's say some of you join the early stage, some of you join the mature stage, well, they have different kinds of judging criteria. But then in the end, all of the selected or shortlisted projects, they will, merge everything, compile everything in one category, and then they will, they will actually award the medals, all right, based on the overall performance and whatnot. So this is the what happened for the QS Reimagine Education Award. And after that, once you have signed up the page, you have to fill in the form, and you have to provide documents, you have to provide evidences. You will be required to submit the video, 2-minute video pitch, all right? But this is mandatory. This is not mandatory, it's up to you. But then if let's say you're shortlisted later on, then it's mandatory for you to submit the 2-video pitch. But then to me, what I can share is I would advise, or I would encourage you to share whatever you have. All right, not just provide the documents, all right, the evidences, but also the video itself, because this are actually what we did last time. All right, then well, the submissions they actually opened since I can't really remember when they opened, but quite a couple months ago, and then the deadline would be in September. All right, and then we'll have to wait maybe half or 1 month. In mid-October, then there will be, the shortlisted results will be released. All right. Then you'll be asked, let's say your project has been selected, has been shortlisted, you'll be asked to provide the 2-minute video pitch. All right. So during our time last year, what it's like is we have already submitted the video in this first stage when we fill in the forms. So for the 2-minute video pitch, it's up to us whether we want to submit the same video or we want to come up with the new one. So what we did was, of course, we come up with a new video pitch for the 2-minute video pitch. And then after that, those who join physically, all right, during the conference, during the events, you can have 5-minute in-person elevator pitch. All right. So this is what happened for the application process. So before we delve more, all right, so what you need to think of right now is you have to ask yourself, all right, how to plan your project innovations. You can join individually, all right, you can join in a team. Like what I did, we have few members together, all right, we joined it together. And then it's up to your innovations. It can be a new idea, all right? It can be you are using or implementing existing tools, using it with your students, or you have, you and your team members come up with products or tangible products that you have. So it's like a lot of things you can think of. All right. So for us, we join it by using we actually have the new ideas. It's something very new. So we join the learning assessment category. All right. Academic level, of course, at the early stage. All right. So how to go about with this? So this brings us to this one, the path to QS Reimagine Education Award success. So this is based on my experience, all right, how I apply, and then based on my observations as well. There will be 4 stages. So the first stage, which is D, the letter D. What is D? So discover and decode in terms of research and preparation. So this is basically my practice. All right, not just QS Reimagine Education Awards, other competitions as well. Before I fill in anything, I always discover the main web page, and then I read through everything carefully and thoroughly as well. The subcategories, the categories before I decide, before I decide to join which category. Of course, I need to know what are the descriptions, what are the criteria for other categories, and then the guidelines, and also the judging criteria as well. So basically for QS Reimagine Education Awards, the judging criteria is kind of transparent, because you can get the guidelines, and then the marks for each portions are all given there. So you can actually base on the judging criteria, and then you tailor your project innovations and your applications. All right. And then the next stage would be align and shine. So once I have dive into all the main web page, the categories, everything. So I will always find out what are the key points from the main web page, and then from the previous award-winning projects as well, the key insights. So I will figure out what are the key points, and then I will tailor my project, all right, with the key points highlighted in the previous award-winning projects, and also the main web pages, all the resources. All right, and then I will think away how to highlight, all right, my innovations together with the key points, and plus the objectives of the innovations and the awards. All right, and then next stage, C for craft and captivate, how to fill in the application form. So well, there are certain ways to fill in the application form. There is no specific format given. It's actually up to your creativity, which I will share later on. And then what you have to make sure is you have to make sure your applications is something very compelling, all right, with engaging responses. And lastly, last stage would be how to showcase and impress the judges and the audiences. So you have to prepare the pitching video. So you have to showcase a compelling pitching video with all the essential elements, with the key points just now. And so for your video, which I noticed, all right, there's a lot of storytelling techniques. And then you have to make sure that your pitching video can actually have a lasting impression for the judges, all right, to win the judges' heart. Okay, this is basically our project introductions, all right? So this is our main title, main topic of the project, From Campus to Career ebook, Revolutionizing Assessment with AI-driven mock job interview simulator. Okay, so when you fill in the application form, they will also ask you, the form will also ask you to fill in a short name for the project. So we come up with Campus to Career ebook, AI interviewing simulator assessment. All right, so for our project, we actually have a few ideas came up from us. The first thing we want to sell is the SimulView, the interview simulator. So this interview simulator is used by the elective course, LBF 10103. All right, professional workplace communications. So the course itself, we have the ebook, we have the e-textbook, digital textbook, and then we try to implement our idea, what we call the SimulView, into this ebook. When students, this is only the idea, all right, when students purchase the ebook, they can actually get the access, all right, get the access of the SimulView, and then they can learn how to polish their interview skills using the SimulView, All right. Okay, so just a brief introductions for our project. So this is the textbook that we have, and the textbook that we currently use with the students. All right, so we have it here. Okay, AI interviewing simulator assessment. All right, so we use it for the formative assessment, especially. All right, to help students to polish their skills, interview skills, and then so that in the near future, when they hunt for jobs, all right, they are able to ace the job interviews. Okay, so once they purchase the ebook, all right, they can get the access to this page. Okay, and then this page, it will be helpful for both the educator and also the students. So as an educator, you can actually set the criteria or the rubrics that you want to test out with your students, and students, they themselves, they can actually do practice for it depends on how many times they want, all right, just to make sure that they can really acquire the skills that they need. So this is the page where the educators can actually set the rubrics in terms of the fluency, the voice accuracy, range, body language, interview techniques, and so on. And then they can set the score, and they can have the feedback personalized feedback straight away for the user. And then, so let's say this is the page for the students, all right, the interface for the students. So when they click let's get started, so they will have to upload the resume, and the system in the SimReview itself will tailor the questions of the interviews based on the resume submitted by the students or by the users. And then after that, they can actually customize types of interview, level of difficulty, body language, and whatnot. And they can start to have the interview sessions by using the SimReview. All right, so basically this is what we have. So later on, they can check their results, okay, they can get the scores, and then they can get the feedback straight away. All right, and then for the educators, they can get the analytics data as well. All right, so basically this is our project innovations. And then for our video pitch, we also share about our project roadmap. All right, so we actually, just like what Prof. Saiful said, that you can actually showcase the timeline, all right, what you want to achieve, all right, along the process. You can actually have everything in your video pitch, and also in the application form as well. There will be questions asked, all right? So from our stage one, we have like discussion and design, and then we have the ebook development, which we have already developed the ebook, and we have initial showcase in yourself, and then publications. All right, we do have publications as well. These are the few things that I would recommend. I would advise all of you to highlight in your applications and in your video pitch especially. And then so then we let the judges know which stage we are now. All right, and lastly, the testing and evaluations. I think our lacks would be this one, testing and evaluations. I think this would be the weakness for our group, because when we join it as the early stage, so we don't really have much qualitative data to have to gather. All right, but I believe that you have your own project innovations, and then maybe some of the project you have already done it, you can polish, and then you can try your best to join this QS Reimagine Education Awards. So let's look at the tips and strategies. All right, so I think you still remember the decks, right? So I'll be focusing one by one how to tackle the applications form. So first, let's look at the discover and decode. Like I said, my practice will be I like to browse through the web page, and then I read through the awards application guide. Everything is online. You can just download everything. All right, everything is transparent, including the judging criteria as well. And also, you can also browse through the LinkedIn account of QS Reimagine Education Awards, where they always have they always organize events, and then they talk about, during the events, they discuss and talk about or highlighted all the most current topics and whatnot. I think it would be great if you have time to actually explore all this, because it helps you in terms when you want to apply for the project later on, for the awards later on. And also I browsed through the previous awards, previous categories as well. It's not, well, if you check through the web page, they actually have, they compile everything since 2018. But I don't think it's necessary for us to check through from the beginning, 2018. I think like you can choose like most current one, like 1 or 2 years back, all right? And then you check through. Okay, so by having all this, by, browse through all these things, what I can trace is I found out a few key points, which I would like to highlight to all of you. And I think you have to highlight it during your applications, when you fill in the forms and in your video page as well. All right, because these are what we did. All right, you can see that just now when I share my project summary, I focus on few things. All right, so employability, all right, will be one of the key points highlighted in QS Reimagine Education Awards. The pedagogical approaches, sustainability, student outcomes, and then all this future educations, revolutionary, and also technological innovations. You will notice like this few years, there's a lot of topics discussed about the AI for the QS Reimagine Education's AI, AR. This last year is all about AI. During the conference as well, there's a lot of discussions and forums about the open discussions about the AI technology, integration of AI in educations. And this year, still AI is something, it's still something hits, all right, something in for the theme. And then the AR as well, okay, machine learning. So all on and on, what you need to do is you have to know what are the teaching innovations that you have done, all right, to help the students, all right, in order to prepare them for the future. So when you want to join this QS Reimagine Education Awards, you have to strategize your project innovations with all these things. All right, so the main questions you have to ask yourself is, what is the teaching innovations that you have done to help the students to prepare them for the future? So this would be the 3 key points. And when you talk about these 3 things, automatically you will touch the employability, pedagogical approaches, sustainability, student outcomes, and all the objectives highlighted in the QS Reimagine Education Awards. All right. Okay, next. This is the project summary once again for our innovations. So you can see that from the title itself, we have already highlighted some key points. By looking at From Campus to Career ebook, so you know that this is our project innovations. Revolutionizing assessment. Remember just now I showed you there's one key point about revolutionary, all right, assessment, because we joined the learning assessment, so we highlighted it in the topic itself. And what is our innovations? Interview simulator, and we have the AI driven. Remember, the AI technology is something hit since last year. All right, so we highlighted everything in our topic itself. Okay, and then for our project summary, you can see some of the bolded words that I highlighted early stage. So I mentioned it from the beginning. It's our project introductions, our project innovation is at its early stage. And then what is our teaching innovations? We use SimReview framework. Okay, we integrate the AI technology. All right, so what are the outcomes that we want the students to be able to achieve? The job interview skills, to gain valuable experience, they can get personalized feedback, enhance their language proficiency, communications, interpersonal skills, critical thinking, and problem-solving abilities. And in the end, prepare the students for the future. So what is the future here? Successful job interviews and career opportunities. So from the topic itself until the project summary, we highlighted all the key points. All right. Okay, next, let's look at the next stage. Craft and captivate, filling in the application form. So there will be a lot of questions, trust me, all right? And you have to when you fill in, you will have to be patient because there are a lot of questions that you have to fill in, and there's no specific format or standard format on how to fill in the questions, all right? But what we did is we actually put everything in listing form. Well, some of the questions, yes, they may require you just, to have everything in a paragraph, but some of the questions you can actually break it into listing, all right, listing form or bullet form, okay? And then of course, everything must be in full sentences, okay? Right, so go back to here. So for the learning assessment category, so there are altogether 6 areas. So this, because I think because we joined the learning assessment, I think at least I can actually share with you what we have filled in. So the first area will be the approach. So you have to talk about the teaching innovations that you have, all right? And then the second area will be the competitor comparison and uniqueness, in which you will have to highlight the novelty of your project, all right? What is so special about your project? It could be like other people are doing the same, but what is so special about yours? So this will be something that you would like to highlight or you would like to put forward. And area 3 is the engagement with the students. Of course, you have to show, you have all this good teaching innovations, but if you're not able to tell or you're not able to relate it to the engagement, then it's not a successful innovation. All right, so in area 3, it's all about engagement, and area 4 will be the impact, and area 5 will be the scalability, and the lastly, area 6 will be some other extra information. So once you fill in all the questions given in all these areas, you will be asked to provide the supporting documents and video. Okay, so in order to justify or to prove what we said or what we fill in as are correct and are accurate, all right, so we attach the learning analytics from eCampus, all right. Since our project innovation is just a new idea, okay, but how we actually explain about the student engagement, we actually use the existing simulator, interview simulator, all right? We kind of sort of like pilot testing with our students, okay, through eCampus. So we download the learning analytics from eCampus, how often students access the simulator and the duration of their sessions. And then later on, we have the CLO achievement, all right, of the job interview, because there will be one CLO assessment focus on the job interview. So once the students try out the interview simulator, whether it could help them later on in the assessment, okay? And then we also have the learners' feedback, and also, and of course, the YouTube video link, the 2-minute YouTube video link in the end. All right, so when we fill in the application form, there will be questions always asked about, you will notice when you fill in the answers, there will be some overlaps from, from other questions as well. All right, so you will have to remember some of the key points, the stakeholders, because you may have to explain it again and again. All right, so who are the stakeholders? The learners themselves, the educators, the policymakers, the potential experts, the partnerships, and etc. And then you'll be asked to explain about if you integrate any technology, especially AI and machine learning. All right, and then you will also, because again, like I said just now, the future employability is very important. So you will notice that when you fill in the application form, it'll be great if you are able to relate it with future career readiness. All right. And again, no specific format, but you have to make sure everything in English only. Okay. And then, of course, sometimes when some of the questions, there will be word limits. So you have to make sure that if they said that you have to write 150, for our groups, we make sure that we fully utilize the words limits given. Okay. And yes, you will notice that when you fill in one of the tips, one of the strategy would be repeat the keywords. All right, when you discuss, when you explain about your teaching innovations, when you explain about the student engagement, you always highlight the keywords. Okay, this is the first video, 2-minute video that we submitted during the application process, where we have this traditional face-to-face mock job interview assessment, in which we try to explain about why we come up with this SimuView interview simulator. All right, we try to compare what happened for the traditional face-to-face job interview, mock job interview assessment. Okay, so it's in the video format. And then we talk about the weaknesses of the traditional face-to-face interview assessment. And then after that, slowly we move into our innovations, the ebook, and then we use some infographic because it's only 2 minutes. We're not able to cover all the things. So we provide infographic in our video as well. Okay, so all right, so once, let's say let's say the project has been shortlisted, all right, you will be required to prepare another 2-minute video. Okay, so there's no specific format for the video pitch, for the pitching video, all right? You can have like with voiceover or without voice, okay, AI generated presentations, animated presentations like the one that's shared by Prof. Saiful just now. I consider it as animated presentations with or without slides. All right, but again, although there's no specific format, you can only have it. There's a time limit there. You can only have a 2-minute video, and then preferably in English. If let's say like maybe in terms of you try to collect the testimonials from the students or from the communities, but they speak in other language, at least you have the English subtitles. So this would be the requirements needed for the applications. All right. And then in your video, what is important, I noticed, is the key elements over here are all the key elements listed over here. A brief overview of the projects. So you talk about the objectives and methods. All right. Remember, I told you that when you prepare the 2-minute video pitch, you have to use the storytelling strategy. All right. So you tell us about, or you explain what is your project, what is the objectives, the methods, and then you have to gather the testimonials or interview with the stakeholders. It could be the educators, the learners, the communities, and whatnot. And you talk about the process, and lastly, you have to focus on the outcomes, which at the same time you cover the impacts as well. All right, and you have to demonstrate the innovative aspects and its potential to transform the educations. I think what is important is the project itself is tangible and it is a robust project or product. You will notice that I picked some of the winners, all right, from 2023. You will notice that they are actually, the video pitch that they have, they are actually, in different formats. All right, from this one, the Global Education Award winner from Taylor's, all right, they have like interviewed some stakeholders, and then they discuss about, or they explain about their projects and whatnot. And they have both like in real situations, interviews, sort of like discovery or kind of like interview sessions. All right. And then they also have AI voiceover at the same time. So it's actually a combination of few things in their video. You can do like this way as well, or like this one, they have like, they show something what happened, all right, when they implement or when they conduct the idea or the innovations with the students. So they show the situations, and then they have some narrative and the subtitles at the same time as well. And then this one, Global EdTech Award winner, which is, I think, of all the videos that I actually explored, this will be the one that I really fall in love, because I think it is most creative one. All right, because the video actually they come up with a character named Alex, and then they tell you about, okay, this character Alex is having certain problem, and then he's looking for what, and then they come up with these innovations and what happened and all the impacts and whatnot, the outcomes. So somehow very creative. And the learning assessment, all right, it's won by this one, Gold Award winner from India, all right, one of the university from India. And you will notice that the video of this presenter from beginning until the end, it's only the sit, all right? There's no slides, okay? And then just the presenter itself, and with some of the, I think some of the items or some of the, posters, some of the products that just, I think it's a posters, right? Sort of like, and then from beginning until the end, he just explained about his innovations and project. But when I checked through the innovations, because they have a special web page for this one, Smart Till, it is something very tangible project or something very tangible product. So no wonder they can win it. All right. So what I would like to stress here is it doesn't matter what kind of video you would like to have. All right. It's actually up to your creativity. Okay, but what is important is the product itself. You have to make sure that it is something very strong, all right? It's really can catch the eye of the judges, and then it really can create a huge impact to the community, to the students, and then for the betterment of the future of the students, okay? All right, maybe I can share what we have of our 2-minute video pitch. Okay, let me share first. Okay, hold on. All right, so this is the video that we submitted. Okay, you can also get it from the web page itself, because it will always be there in their innovation directory. So just something to share with all of you. All right, so that will be our video pitch. Okay, let me reshare my screen before I end my sharing sessions. There will be one more slide to go through. Okay. All right, so just a quick questions for all of you. All right, looking ahead, what trends or developments in education technology do you believe will have the most significant impact on student learning outcomes in the next decade? If it's not the next decade, maybe in the near future or within this 1 or 2 years. So if you are able to answer these questions, I believe that you are ready for the QS Reimagine Education Awards 2024. And with that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mrs. Lena. That is a very detailed sharing on the application process, the steps, and also the planning for the project. So I believe that we have learned a lot from Mrs. Lena during the session. So we'll now open for questions. If you have any questions, you can ask Mrs. Lena. You can type in the chat box, or you can just unmute your microphone and ask her directly.
Hello, Madam Lena. That was a very impressive presentation just now that you've shared with us. I'm just wondering, when you have already submitted the QS for the basically like an entry level, so when do you think that you're ready to go for the matured stage? Is it after you have fully or completed the project and get the final assessment or feedback from the students, then only you submit, or once you have completed the project, you can submit straight away? Do we need to get like do a survey first and get the what do you call that, the outcome from the user before we submit for the mature level QS?
All right, thank you, Madam Lenira, for the questions. Yes, I believe that whatever we have, the project that we have, I believe all of us have it, but I think if you want to submit for it, you have to make sure that like what Prof. Saiful shared just now, not just the qualitative, the quantitative is the most important one. So you have to make sure that you have collect and gather enough data to be able for you to present it to explain everything in the application form and to present it in the video pitch later on. All right. If not, because these are what we call the evidences. So you have to show the judges that you have implemented this project, and it's successful. But how to show that it's successful? So the data, the feedback from the students, the results, all right, the surveys, the testimonials are all very important. So this will be the evidences to support your innovation. I hope I answer your question, Kathleen.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, Madam Lena.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions from our attendees? Anything that you would like to share with Mrs. Lena, perhaps? Okay, we do have one question in the chat box. Is it necessary for the participant or teams to network with others or industries or agencies to gain insights from experts or practitioners?
All right. It's a good question. Yes, I believe yes, because it helps to justify the impacts and the sustainability parts. All right. If when we come out with the projects, of course you don't think that you just want to work together with your students. You hope others can also get the benefits. So it would be great if you can also share about the partnerships, all right, with other agencies, with other industries. All right.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions for Mrs. Lena?
The duration of the video pitch, it has to be 2 minutes. If let's say we've exceeded, do we get penalized for that?
I think you will be considered as disqualified because it's kind of like very strict for the judging. Although everything is there, you can check through the judging criteria. It's transparent. It's kind of like transparent. But then when we come to, when they judge, they are actually very strict. And we have to remember, not just us, there's a lot of entries. All right. If like I think one judge will have to judge around 5 to 6 projects, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so we have to make sure that we really adhere to the requirements.
Yes.
You also mentioned about physically presenting the pitch. So that was done during the competition at the venue. So during the presentation, were you being asked about questions by the judges or the jury that attended your project?
All right, for this
What are
question,
the questions? Yeah, what are the questions that being asked by the jury?
I'm not able to answer these questions because I joined virtually. All right, so I kind of like do not know what happened during the physical. And when I joined virtually, during the pitching sessions, we do not have access to the pitching sessions. We only have access to the forums, the discussions and whatnot. The pitching sessions, based on the categories, I cannot answer any questions on that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you very much, Madam Lina.
If I can add to that, Madam Linera, according to Dr. Saiful just now, because Dr. Saiful had Dr. Saiful was actually presented his project physically in the US. So what he mentioned in his presentation just now is that he had 7 minutes for the physical presentation, and during the 7 minutes pitching presentation, there were 3 minutes for Q&A from the judges. And for this year's, I think starting last year and this year, the competition for QS Reimagine Education Awards are done both physically and virtually. So the way it is being handled probably a bit different. Yep. Do we have any more questions from our participants today?
I have one question. Okay, Madam Lina, how long does it takes for you and team to complete all the documentation before you submit? Tricky question because we do hope lots of few more application come from UMK this year. So maybe you can give some sort of the motivation words to our staff to join. Yeah.
Right. I hope I will not scare them off. Actually, it took me about a week, and then we actually had to like work from day and night.
Mhm.
And after we fill in everything, we re-edit, we proofread everything. So at least a week.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
Jangan putus asa. I believe that all of you can do it. Well, it's free when you join it, so why not, right? So and then if you get if you are into the shortlisted list, then it will be a bonus for all of us, right?
Mhm.
That's what I always that's the belief that I always hold on. All right. We already have everything. It's just that we have to like strategize, how to put everything into, you know, when we apply, when we fill in the form, and then lots of patience, and then it's time consuming, but then I think in the end I think it's worth it. All right. Most importantly, I think you have to love what you're doing, and I don't think anything can stop you from doing what you like, what you love. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? We still have time, like 5 minutes before 11:30. Okay. Right. So since there are no more questions, we have come to the end of our webinar. Thank you, Mrs. Lena, for your sharing just now. Very detailed, very thorough sharing on the process itself. And I hope that this can motivate our academic staff to participate in this year's QS Reimagine Education Awards. Before we wrap up, I want to extend a big thank you to our speakers, even though Dr. Saiful is no longer with us here because he has to attend another meeting. But I would like to thank Dr. Saiful and Madam Lena for their time and valuable sharing today. I believe that we have learned a lot from the advice, from the advices, the tips, the strategies that they have shared. So please take this into consideration when you are planning for your projects. If you are interested to join or participate in the QS Reimagine Education Awards. I also want to thank all of our participants for joining us and participating. We really hope that this webinar and this sharing has inspired and motivated you to consider participating in the QS Reimagine Education Awards. I believe that most of us, most of the academic staff, I know that we have some here from USM as well. So I believe that most of us have done amazing projects and innovation for the improvement or betterment of our teaching and learning, which could be recognized globally. So take this as an opportunity for us to share what we have done with our students, with the world. Let me ask the Secretariat, do we want to take another photo session? Yeah, so we will take one more group photo session, and after that we will end the webinar. Okay, can I have the Secretariat ready for the photo session? Can I ask everyone to turn on your camera? All right, ready, 1, 2, 3, smile everyone. All right, done? All right, thank you so much everyone. Have a great day. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye. See you again.
Thank you everybody. Bye.
Thank you.